True Peace, Kens and Kenettes. I am back at y'all with another one. And if you trying to stay ahead of the game, man, you should go ahead and subscribe to Peep the Slang. Vladimir Putin warns the West of military measures over Ukraine threats. Peep the Slang. Russian President Vladimir Putin said if the West continue its obviously aggressive stance, Russia will take appropriate military technical measures. Man, peep the slang. President Vladimir Putin has warned that Russia is prepared to take military steps in response to unfriendly Western actions over the Ukraine conflict and a sharp escalation of rhetoric. He also called for serious negotiations on Russia security demands put to the United States and NATO during his first call with new German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who in turn called for de escalation. The Russian president has for weeks accused the United States and the Washington LED NATO military alliance of stoking tensions near Moscow's borders. But these were his first comments hinting at potential conflict. Mr. Putin told defense ministry officials that if the West continued its obviously aggressive stance, Russia would take appropriate military technical measures. Man, Peter Slang, Russia will react toughly to unfriendly steps, he said, adding that he wanted to underscore that we have every right to do so. The United States have been sounding the alarm since mid-November that Moscow could be planning a large-scale attack on its ex-Soviet neighbor Ukraine and has warned Mr. Putin of unprecedented sanctions. Western governments have accused Moscow of amassing some 100,000 troops near its borders with eastern Ukraine, where Kyiv has been fighting pro-Russia separatists since 2014. Doorstep of our house. Russia denies plotting an invasion and has demanded legal guarantees over its security from the United States and NATO, demanding the alliance stop and eastward expansion. Man, peep the slang. Last week, Moscow presented its demands to the United States and NATO, saying the alliance must not admit new members or establish military bases in ex-Soviet countries. In his first call with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, Mr. Putin on Tuesday said he wanted serious negotiations on the demands, accusing Ukraine of having violated the 2015 ceasefire agreements. The chancellor expressed his concern about the situation and spoke of the urgent need for de-escalation, said a statement released by Mr. Schultz's office. Man, peep the slang. At the meeting with the defense officials earlier, Mr. Putin voiced concern in particular over what he said was U.S. missile deployments in Poland and Romania, countries he said will soon be capable of launching Tomahawk cruise missiles. If the infrastructure moves further, if US and NATO missile systems appear in Ukraine, then the approach time to Moscow will be reduced to 7 or 10 minutes, he said. That the time will be cut even shorter with hypersonic weapons, he said. Despite hinting at conflict, Mr. Putin insisted Russia wanted to avoid bloodshed. We want to resolve issues by political and diplomatic means, he said, but the Russian leader repeated grievance over Washington's support for Ukraine, which includes training Kyiv's forces and committing more than 2.5 billion in funds to them. Those actions are taking place at doorsteps of our house, Mr. Putin said. Man, peep the slang. Zelensky seeks clear timeline, man. Peep the slang. Even if Moscow receives U.S. security guarantees, Mr. Putin said he would be wary of them because the United States easily withdraws from all international treaties that, for one reason or another, become uninteresting to them. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, meanwhile, voiced frustration over NATO's reluctance to speed up Kyiv's membership in the alliance. We cannot accept the theory that this is now very popular about Ukraine joining the EU in 30 years and NATO sometime in 50 years, Mr. Zelensky said Tuesday. Ukraine wanted to get a very clear timeline from NATO on the prospect of membership in 2022, he added. Although Kyiv has for years been seeking to join the U.S.-led alliance, Western officials have on numerous occasions said this is not on the cards anytime soon, man. Peep the slang. This just came out today, yo. So